felt pretty big tonight, Old Trafford on its feet at the end of that game.
Yeah, we had to suffer all together in the stadium. In the game, really difficult for us. I think we did a good first half, and then the second half we just defend and try to do something with Cunha, and we had our opportunities, of course, in the second half with transitions. But it was a good win. But I had so many games here saying that we play really well and we didn't get the 3 points. Today was the opposite. I think we suffered together and we managed to win the game.
I was watching Casemiro and Luke Shaw, particularly in the added time, right at the very end. And although they were encouraging the team, there just seemed to be a sense of nervousness and just wanting to get it over and done with. Yeah,
because I think we spend a lot of times with each other. We had some low moments, and that sometimes can bring good things to the group. But it's good to have that feeling, to have experienced players helping the kids, some of the kids inside, in helping the team, understanding that we are suffering. It doesn't matter if you are outside the pitch, you can play the game, and I think everyone played the game.
Can I ask then, did you feel better with the back four, the formation, the shift tonight?
No, I think it was in the first half. I think we showed that I felt that was the only way to create more danger, to have more opportunities. Was with the back four, with a lot of guys inside, even to kick the ball. Because I remember the game from last year, we lost 1-against-1 outside. So we just tried to imagine the game and to help the players to feel comfortable.
And you talked a few weeks ago about maybe the nervousness and not so much a lack of confidence with Patrick, and he goes and delivers a moment like that. Yeah, because you put him in one position that is more in front. The responsibility is not the same. He's have more freedom to lose the ball, and I think it helped Patrick to play better. So they just need to understand. Even Manu. I think Manu did a very good game today. They need to understand that football sometimes you have a good day and the next day can be worse, and you have to deal with that and to train well and to go forward. Mason Mount, how is he?
He felt something at half time. He wanted to go, and that is also a good thing. He wanted to go to the second half, but we cannot lose more players. And if you are not in 100%. Jack did a very good job.
But that's just it. Let's talk about Jack, because his first appearance at Old Trafford, but as part of the first team.
Yeah, it's a very important moment for any kid. He's going to hear from his father. I already know that Darren is going to talk a lot about a lot of things, but he needs to back to calm down and to just praise the kid, because he's really humble, works really hard, and he deserves this.
It is one of those moments, though, isn't it, when you come through the Manchester United Academy?
Yeah, it's that feeling again. In certain moments, it doesn't matter. We have a squad, and we try to choose the best players to play. And I understand the history of the club, and I want to be part of that. But sometimes you just need to choose the best players to win. And today was the opposite of many games. We put players from the academy because we had to, and because they deserve.
But for all that suffering you've gone through tonight against Newcastle United, 5th in the Premier League, so much has been talked about with this opportunity to be 5th, but also as well you've got a clean sheet. Yeah, clean sheet, back four. So I think I don't need a press conference. I think everything. Kobe Mino is injured, so I think all the subjects, and we can go home to enjoy the Boxing Day, I think. Enjoy the rest of the Christmas celebrations. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, maybe Ruben Amorim is turning over a new leaf, because, or maybe the Pope did intervene this Christmas. I mean, we may maybe never know, but a change of tactics seemed to cause some confusion for Newcastle in that first half, particularly, and more minutes for teenagers. Jamie, you're going through this, I know, as a dad on the touchline, watching James as a professional footballer. How's Darren Fletcher going to be handling this and feeling right now? Not just once, but potentially twice with Tyler standing by.
He'll feel a lot better at the end of the game with that result than he would have done at half-time when he's seen his son come on. And listen, I think Roy said it perfectly at half-time, you know, goes on to be half the player, or achieve half of what his dad did at Manchester United. He'll have a fantastic career. But it's not easy watching your son. You're very proud, but it can be very nerve-wracking as well. So I'm really pleased, obviously, for the lad more importantly, but for the Fletcher family, that it all went okay.
Yeah, hopefully Tyler Fletcher gets some minutes as well very soon. Do you think this is the way forward now, Roy? 4 at the back for United?
Who knows? Strange enough, it's a hard game to analyse, and there was a lot of mad stuff going on. The fact that we were hanging in there at the end, the system, throwing young lads on at the end. But again, from ex-players watching the game tonight, when it started, it just looked a better feel to it. That's all. Obviously, if you're going to be a top player or a top manager, they'll have to adapt and try different things. But for what I saw tonight, yeah, I felt the players looked a bit more comfortable. That's all, and they looked at more of a goal threat. And of course, you back it up with a win and a clean sheet. That gives you the confidence and that the belief to believe this is the way to go forward.
We normally do like a sweep for a scoreline, don't we? I think we should probably do a sweep for, can you guess the starting lineup for Wolves next week and the finishing lineup as well against Wolves?
But at least it's a good game for them to, you know, it's a game they'd fancy.
An opportunity.
An opportunity, yeah, to build on this now, to get another win under their belts. And I'll go back to that word, momentum. Try and get some momentum into the second half of the season. And that belief and confidence. Everyone talks about the way United should play, but at the end of the game, the United fans were celebrating. Deep down, they didn't care how they got over that line. They wanted to get a win, get some momentum, up to 5th now. And you know what? It's looking a little bit better.
Roy, thank you for the moment. Jamie, thank you for the moment as well.
Congratulations, Aidan, first of all. That felt big tonight.
It was finally clean sheet, you know. We've been waiting for this for a couple of weeks, and I'm just so happy, you know. And yeah, this guy here, you know, he helped us get there. So yeah, I'm just so thankful for everyone that helped us.
And this guy here, Patrick, I spoke to you before the game. You were feeling confident. You said you'd yourself had watched Newcastle and you thought of a way of trying to expose them. What a hit.
Yeah, it was a good hit. Didn't know I could do that, but, but I was very happy to score my first goal in the stadium as well, so it was amazing.
Yeah, just talk us through that goal, though, because Ruben Amorim has spoken about perhaps maybe a little bit of nervousness and not so much confidence, but in the last few games and tonight, you just look so comfortable.
Yeah, I just took what he told me as to work, on my confidence and stuff. And yeah, I think I did well today. And I just looked at the ball and I saw it drop and I just hit it. So, yeah.
Did he talk to you about your finish or how to finish even?
No, I've been practicing in training, so I think that's what helped me.
And Aidan, in terms of the defence, you talk about the clean sheet, and so much has been made about this formation, whether it's a back 3, a back 4, and goodness knows what it was by the end. Did it feel more balanced for you tonight?
Yeah, it was different again. Obviously, I was playing on the right side. It's obviously my weaker foot, but the manager, we play loads of formations with him, and whatever he does, we know it's going to work. And obviously, you saw today, and yeah, I'm just so proud of the team.
And so much has been made as well about the opportunity to go 5th in the Premier League. And you've had chances before, but you did it tonight. Just talking about being in the top 5 or 5th, what does that do for confidence?
Yeah, obviously, I think as Manchester United, we belong in Europe and we want to get back there next season. So obviously, we can even push for the top 4, possibly win the league, you know. Anything's possible, and yeah, we're just going to keep trying.
But do you feel you are progressing and you are developing to be that top 5, top 4 team?
Yeah, for sure. You see the fighting spirit we showed today, the whole game, defending as a team, so for sure. And when we get players back as well, we'll be even stronger, so yeah.
Well, you scored the goal. You were the match winner. Aidan is player of the match. I mean, you want to share it as well, but what would you like to say? What would you like to say about Patrick first?
I just want to thank him, you know, because I was just in front of him when he volleyed it in. I knew as soon as it dropped, he was going to score. But yeah, I'm just thankful, you know, to him. And yeah, that's it.
And what would you like to say about Aidan?
Yeah, Aidan did really well today. Cleared a lot of balls and defending really well. So I'm happy for him.
Well done. Let you get back in the dressing room. Would you like to do the honours?
Yeah, bro.
Sorry, what?
It's fine.
He deserves it, but it's my first
share.
one. If it was my second one, it would be his. But
Your first and his first goal.
Yeah, it's fine, bro. We share it.
Thank you.
Always go to forward players or goal scorers, especially when Gary Neville is on commentary. I like the confidence. Maybe we could win the league this season, but let's not...
Bit of a stretch, I think. Yeah.
Let's not dwell too much on that. Simplify this for us, Roy. What have we seen here tonight?
Well, we've seen a big win for United. we've seen all the stats before the game when Bruno's missing, etc. So for to come out, win an ugly game, and what the players have mentioned there, particularly from a defensive point of view, keeping that clean sheet. So we saw the stats, the amount of crosses that were going into the box, amount of times they had to clear their lines. Obviously, that's what they're supposed to do. But there has to be pride in your defending. Again, we've spoke many times over the last few months about how good United are going forward. The goal was fantastic, a special goal, great moment for him. But if you really want to make progress as a football club, it's got to be about being defensively solid and keeping clean sheet. It has to be.
Second clean sheet this season tonight.
Yeah, of course, but it's a start in terms of getting momentum for these younger players, because they would have heard over the last few days about the constant chat in the media is about players who are missing, and Bruno, and that's what happens when your top lads are missing. So I said before the game, but you still have to find something. Yeah, he changed the system, they rolled their sleeves up towards the end, but that's part of football, surviving, hanging in there, digging out results. Your memory can play tricks, and people go back to the teams I played in as if we played it well every week. We didn't, but we dug in and you found results. You mentioned there about winning league titles, keeping clean sheets. Again, they're not quite ready for that, but they have to start somewhere. And what I enjoyed a little bit about it, there was certainly pride in it. I've not seen that pride. There's no good us sitting here like a few weeks ago, 4-4 against Bournemouth. It was a mad game, chance. That's fine every now and again, but you're not going to go anywhere with that type of kind of attitude. So they almost had a rating, I think, the last week or two. We have to go back and being hard to beat. They've done that tonight. They obviously have to kick on now.
Are you surprised by the outcome, Jamie, given the personnel that have been involved for both teams, really?
Yeah, I think you asked me at the start of the game who I thought was favourites for the game, and I thought I couldn't see how United were favourites when you see the team. And when you think of the team that finished the game, no way. So it'll be a huge disappointment, I think, for Newcastle to not get anything from the game. But as I said before, I don't think they deserved it. I know when you look at the stats, they're so far in Newcastle's favour, but you've got to take into account who they're up against and what that Manchester United team was at the end. So you'd expect sort of those type of numbers. But the big one for me was the obvious one, no goals, but only one big chance. And you think of how many crosses they put in, the most Newcastle have put in any game this season. There was only one I could remember with real quality from Murphy in that first half. The amount of times, so the lack of quality from Newcastle around the box, not so much with the finishing, with the creation means that they didn't deserve anything from the game.
We've talked a lot about tactics and formations and setups tonight as well. What part, if any, did that play in the outcome of the game?
I think you'd have to say it played a part in the first half. Well, in the last couple of weeks, and we've almost been sort of second-guessing the man. Is it a system change? We've been trying to look at it. I wasn't quite sure looking at it on Monday Night Football. I just thought he was asking people to do different things within the same system. But, as I said before the game, most teams now, with and without the ball, almost have a different setup. But tonight, it was just so easy to tell. There was no sort of interchanging sort of systems. But what happened second half, even though I'm saying Newcastle didn't deserve anything, that's not the plan. That's not the plan for Manchester United to play like that second half and to be dominated so much without the ball and to be forced back so much without the ball. And then the manager made changes and substitutions. It looked like at times, did he go back to the sort of system at Euro at right back, something he did at Aston Villa. But he probably had to do something at that time. I was surprised with the substitutions at the end in terms of Martinez and Shaw. Not so much because he brought them off, because who knows what the fitness issues are. If he'd brought them off 10 or 15 minutes earlier, you might say, OK, there might be an injury issue. But because it was so late, felt strange. But listen, tonight is not a night for that when you think of sort of what United have been through, the players they've been missing, AFCON, the problems they've had tonight, bringing obviously young Fletcher on, Mount going off at half-time. It's a brilliant win for them all.
And the players would have felt the pressure. It was definitely a bit of relief as well at the end. And I'm not a great one for the players going on the pitch applauding everybody, but it definitely felt, there was a feeling tonight, you're going, this is an important game for the club. It really is. For all the negativity the players are missing, again, particularly Bruno missing. And there was that vibe before the game going, probably Newcastle are almost slight favourites. So I think the players would have felt that pressure. And when you get young players coming on and performing, again, getting a win under the belts, that will give them huge belief and confidence going forward. Because when you get a result in front of the fans, and it gives them a good taste for it, because they've had too many setbacks, particularly going back to last year. And this year, still been in negativity, even though the signs have been a little bit better. So I think the players will certainly enjoy that tonight.
And we were asking the question before the game, who would emerge as a potential match winner tonight? I don't think any of us were talking about Patrick Dorgu, were we?
No, but what a brilliant goal. We said it at half-time. He had a long time to think about, and he's coming across him, but his technique at the very end was absolutely fantastic. Now, we've been critical since he's come to the club about his technique. about his end product, but that was absolutely brilliant. I think he's grown in confidence from his last couple of games, and this is absolutely brilliant goal. Keeper should maybe do better, but if you watch him here, you have a long time to think about it. Look, anything could happen here, and he's thinking, fair play to him, he kept his eye on the ball, got over it, and to be the winning goal as well on the top of the clean sheet, happy days for the kid.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got the winning goal tonight. I know Manchester United a few days ago, Villa Park, he was involved in that goal, wasn't he, in terms of, being really aggressive, winning the ball, then getting it into Cunha as well, playing a big part in that. So, yeah, it hasn't been easy for him. At times, when you talk about him playing wing-back, he's played both sides, hasn't he, wing-back position as well. But could
that work for him, right midfield? I mentioned at half-time that the 3 goals that he scored previous to tonight had all come playing on the right side, the right midfield for Lecce.
Well, it's not, that's the way, isn't it? Your players, left foot to play on the right, don't they? Cutting in on that left foot. Listen, it remains to be seen. I think the big question for the manager is this a system that he's going to stick with, or is it because of the position he's found himself in terms of players that he's got, players who are out injured? So I think it remains to be seen what he'll be doing over these coming weeks. But one thing we should say, it fooled us before the game, and it definitely fooled Eddie Howe and Newcastle, because there was a little mention about his goalkeeper going down, wasn't he, in that first half, to try and get that message on. So if Ruben Amorim can go forward and almost keep that way, you're going into games not 100% sure what the opposition are going to do. That's never an easy place to come up against an opposition where you're not quite sure what they're going to do, who they're going to play, and maybe that can be something that can add to improve United.
Yeah, maybe did catch him out. Yeah, maybe they have been a bit predictable. You know what's coming with them, but tonight, yeah, definitely caught everybody out.
Well, how about the emergence of Aidan Heaven as well, the absence of De Ligt and Maguire, 2 senior figures at the back. Martinez was back tonight. But what about the game that he had, Roy?
Yeah, he done very well, and I think the game suited him. Sometimes it's nice to be, particularly in the first half, up to be against an out-and-out strike and enjoy that physical challenge. He's certainly got a lot of composure in the ball, and he's learned his trade. These are all different tests for him, obviously clearing your lines. And these type of things, these are basic parts of defending, because you've still got to do it. And then when you back it up with a clean sheet, it just gives you loads of confidence. You saw his interview after the game. They're obviously very naive, talking about winning the league, etc. But you love that in young kids as well. They bring a raw energy. And even their balls coming into the area, the old-fashioned centre-halves, get your head in it. And you see the reaction after the game. It means a lot to the kid. And his clearances, outstanding.
I thought he was brilliant. And listen, the big thing that stands out, I think in these last few weeks, he's playing alongside Euro. 2 young centre-backs. It's not going to be easy being there myself. You make mistakes. You have to learn on the job a little bit. But let's not forget, Euro costs £50 million. And he's the one who's actually step out
for free.
Sit out. But and then also, I think an interesting point that we made before the game, we weren't quite sure whether Sandro Martinez was going to play. So you've got 2 left-footed players playing alongside each other at the back. Yes, we thought it was a back 3. But when it's a back 4, the younger guy's the one who's sort of playing on the right side. Normally it'd be maybe the more experienced player, or you maybe take that little bit of responsibility. But credit to him, it wasn't easy for him, wasn't on his natural side as well, and it didn't seem like a problem for him at all.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a back 3. It would have been an all left-footed back 3. Is that possible?
Listen, that might be one of the reasons why the change. We don't know. Only the manager will know the reason why he did it, and that could be one of the reasons also.
Well, we'll find out. We hope we'll find a little bit.
OK, he says he's covered all of it, doesn't need a press conference. The big question there was about that back 4. It's worked certainly in the first half. Do you think he will be doing it again, is the question?
100%. Most important thing is you've got to get results. Man United are 5th. That's a Champions League place. We know that now. And I think, at the top of the pitch, they have enough to score goals. They're the second highest scorers in the league. So keep clean sheets. That's been one of the biggest issues. Only 2 clean sheets all season. That is the way forward. Keep a clean sheet. 1 goal is enough. They're really good on set pieces this season. I think there's an improvement there. And the great thing is Ruben has shown an ability to adapt and tweak things when necessary. And I think that's only a positive for teams, because then you're not as predictable.
Yeah, he said in the first half he felt it was the only way to create more danger.
Yeah, it's interesting because for so long he's been so stubborn. I'm not changing. I'm always going to play 5 at the back. But again, it's maybe give him food for thought that he can change the system. And we're just looking at the next 3 fixtures: Wolves, Leeds and Burnley.
Brilliant.
So it's a real opportunity. I think the next few weeks for Manchester United is hugely important in the sense that the January window opens soon. He sees he's playing with a lot of kids at the minute as well. The people up above, you think, would need to back him as well in the window to try and strengthen.
If they win those 3, you can afford to not get a result against Man City and us, because you'll be in a great position. So you know, after not striking when they had a chance, they've done it today. That's the most important thing.
They certainly have a victory with a stunning goal to win the game for Manchester United over Newcastle United, and a clean sheet to boot as well means they go level on points.
Eddie, I guess the most frustrating thing about that game tonight was nearly every single stat was in your favour, but you just couldn't convert in those final moments.
Yeah, second half was a lot better than the first, I think, from our perspective. But we didn't do enough. You know, we had to do more, and it wasn't through a lack of effort. I thought we were very dominant in that second period. I felt if we scored, we could go on and win the game, but it didn't happen, and yeah, we're hugely disappointed.
If we go back to the very start, were you caught out a little bit by the way that Manchester United set up tonight?
I actually thought we started the game really well for the first 15-20 minutes, but then I think we were maybe slightly rocked by the goal. I don't think we responded well to that moment, and I was a bit disappointed at half-time with our inability to grab control of the game, because I thought it was there for us to take. And I don't think that it was a tactical issue for us. I don't think we looked as physically good as we did in our last game against Chelsea, where we were physically outstanding. But we got better in the second half and played with good rhythm, dominated the ball, and it was just the goal that was missing.
When you talk about that physicality then, what do you put that down to?
Yeah, it can be a huge number of things. I don't know. I just didn't think we looked... I mean, against Chelsea, I thought physically we were excellent, but we weren't as physically good.
Because you did control those large parts in the second half a lot better in the game. After Aaron Ramsdale went down, I think it was in the 9th minute or so, you did seem to get to grips a lot more with what was going on here tonight. Yeah,
I don't think there was a tactical problem for us at any stage in the game. I think we're disappointed with how we defended the goal. Long throws was something we prepared for, so we're disappointed with that action, and then we're disappointed with our actions in terms of trying to score that final finish, because I think that we created the moments in the second half. We cut through them a number of times, put a lot of balls in their box today, a lot of crosses. So I think the chances were there. As I said, if we had scored that equalising goal, then I think the whole momentum shift is with us, but it wasn't to be.
I know when you talk about having those chances as well, Anthony Gordon had 2 pretty big opportunities to do just that.
Yeah, I thought he was probably our brightest player in attack today. I thought Anthony played well. I thought he was direct, full of running. I was pleased with his individual performance. Yes, the goal wasn't there, but we need more. We need more goalmouth creation, action, and certainly more clinical in front of goal. And there are also some decisions as well in the second half too that were you a little bit perplexed by, or were you happy with the outcome of those decisions? I just think we wanted the ball in play more, that was all. We're chasing the game, we want a longer game, we want the ball in play. They managed the game well from their perspective, but I think they were allowed to. And I know you said before the game that Nick Pope wasn't necessarily match fit to be considered for this game tonight. Is it going to be that goalkeeping conundrum again you have going forward into the game against Burnley? Well, I think that will be a position, obviously, that will be discussed. Nick was actually ill before the game as he was warming up, so I don't think there's any way he could have played today. But we'll make an assessment for the next game. OK, Eddie, thank you. Thank you.
Newcastle United, Jekyll and Hyde. Away from home, they have won only 1 so far this season, whereas at home it's been a totally different story for them. Another away day nightmare for them, quite frankly. Eddie Howe talking about the fact that they had worked on long throws, and that's how they conceded, so even more frustrating for him.
Yeah, frustrating, small margins. A couple of players, I think Ramsey's got to get tighter on the throw, and we think Gordon's job was to stay on the edge of the box, but then he came alive. Mason Mount was round the back. He probably done the right thing, picked him up. He was a danger as well. But it's just little moments in games. Sometimes you think, we've got still plenty of time to get back into the game, but they didn't. They didn't have quality in front of the goal. They had a lot of possession and a lot of pass completions, all that sort of, I was going to say nonsense, but all the stats were in their favour. But at the same time, it's not big chances they're creating. Le Mans didn't make loads of saves, and 6 points, Jules, out of 27. That's damning. You know, they've spent a lot of money in the summer. They've regrouped. They've recruited a lot of top players in the summer as well. And that number is really, really worrying for a team that wants to get back in the Champions League.
Yeah, 46 crosses. You've already mentioned that number. Actually, it's the 4th most in a game so far this season. And Eddie Howe said that if they had scored, he felt they would have gone on and won the game. They just didn't seem like they were going to find a way to put those crosses away.
Do you know, and the best cross of the ball they had was Murphy, and he took him off. And he took off Walter Matt at the same time. If you're going to cross the ball 46 times, why take off the lad that's 6'7"? You'd think you'd keep him on so that you can...
Sorry, 6-7. Sorry.
I would love to see, maybe go to... United have got Xerxes at the top of the pitch. He's a striker. He's not going to run away from you. So you got a back 4 and against 1. So you can even go to a back 3, and then you can play 2 up with Vissa and Baltamada. So I don't know. I just think it's too basic to get it wide and just cross it. You know, it needs a little bit more, and I thought United defended all those crosses brilliantly.
Were those perplexing for you as well, those changes?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, again, he'd done that at the weekend against Chelsea. He took the front 3 off and put 3 fresh sets of legs on again. He mentioned as well in his interview about the physicality. They weren't at the same physicality as they were as Chelsea. He didn't know why that was, or he couldn't put his finger on that. But you could say that about all their away performance, taking Everton out of the equation. You know, the physicalities. The Sunderland game was the last away game. They were horrific, weren't they? And so disappointing for the fans. And it feels that way again. You know, we mentioned before, Old Trafford, Man United, this team, they're not the team of old. They're a team to be got at. People are going to the Old Trafford think we can go there and win now. And depending on that performance, that's the thing. Eddie will be going up the road tonight, like going up. That's not good enough, and the fans will be thinking the same thing. So, back to the drawing board, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
From home, Jamie, what do you think the biggest issue is? He talked about the physicality that they can't match with some of the home performances.
Yeah, and before the game, and I think a big thing that Newcastle supporters are talking about is the intensity without the ball, and sort of the press and the energy that we see at St James's Park, and it feels like it's in a complete contrast to what you see away from home, especially when you think of, you know, that Sunderland game as well. I think Roy was mentioned before the game, you got to go after this United team and you consider what's on the pitch. And yeah, they did start when the Manchester United got a grip of the game in that middle of the game, and they just couldn't wrestle it back. And when you see how dominant they were second half, I've said earlier, they didn't do enough even to get anything from the game. But when you're that dominant in a game, you're showing the opponent that you're a better team than them. We know that. When you look at the youngsters United had on the pitch. But in that first half as well, I think this is the only real chance of a set piece. We know Eddie Howe and Newcastle are always very creative set piece wise, and the delivery was quite good. I think the delivery from set pieces was a lot better than it was in open place. There was so many balls into the box. Lewis Hall was a player even in the first half and on some really good runs. That's a great effort as well.
That would be one heck of a goal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There was never a chance. The goalkeeper didn't make one save in the game. You know, and I think Eddie Howe's interview there is really fair. He's basically said we didn't do enough.
That was the one that was deemed the big chance, Roy.
Yeah, but I think that's... I know he's praising Gordon, but the most important part in football is that end product and putting the ball in the back of the net and making the right decisions. So you can talk about the physicality. They got in the positions, but lack of quality, lack of composure, anticipation. We're talking about them among the balls going into the box, but nobody was on the move, nobody was reading it, nobody was getting on the second balls. You look at the United goal, the ball was in the air a long time and nobody's getting to it. So there'll be a lot for him he'll be disappointed about. And again, we've said it many times, we've talked about the stats, but you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And for all their passing and probing, usually when you have that much stats, usually the goalkeeper gets man of the match when the ball's going in that much. But again, we barely mentioned the goalkeeper, so they've not tested the goalkeeper. And the bottom line is, when you have that much possession afterwards, you must be thinking, has the keeper made 4 or 5 outstanding saves? No, he's made maybe 1 decent save.
They did have very strong claims for a penalty in their last game against Chelsea, which weren't given. What about this one here tonight, which some Newcastle fans may feel should have gone their way? Handball, potentially Lisandro Martinez?
No. I mean, Gary was mentioned. I thought Gary was probably a little bit stronger than I felt in here when he was watching it. I think he was just so close to him. He's got his hands on, the Newcastle player. His hands are just in that position because he's grappling. I don't think there's any way.
I said chest first.
Yeah, but it just
mutual contact.
I don't even
build
really
up to it.
Even feel like it was a debate. That, to be honest, I don't even think it should have gone to VAR. Just look at it and move on. It was no chance that was a penalty.
On paper, I suppose you could argue, away to Old Trafford is a really tough fixture. They wouldn't have anticipated perhaps the 11 they were facing tonight, but when you consider what Newcastle have got coming up and Burnley away is followed by 4 consecutive home games, does that give Eddie Howe and Newcastle the opportunity to actually have a really strong start to 2026?
Yeah, they'll have to. They're going to have a busy... I think I mentioned earlier, I think they've got 9 games in January, so they'll be tested in terms of the squad. Obviously, we hope Ramsdale's all right, because he went down after about 8 or 9 minutes. Like a sore hamstring. But he recovered pretty well from it. But
do you have an issue with that, by the way?
With what? I'm going down...
Yeah.
With an injury?
Yeah. And maybe a little bit of tactical information going on.
It might have been a bit of cramp, who knows? I'm not physio.
Did you never do that when you were a manager?
No, getting players to go down with an injury?
Or maybe trying to find ways to get tactical information.
No, but strange again,
pitch.
Eddie Howe mentioned there about United obviously slowing the game down and the tactics. But I think Newcastle were they the worst team in the league last year for the ball out of
How
play.
are you quantifying that?
Yeah, by taking the time and slowing the game down. And that's fine, but when you start doing it after 8 minutes, you probably get what you deserve. But the one thing with Eddie Howe, we've seen him over the last few years, he's calm. He's calm with all this stuff. I know there can be extreme reactions up at Newcastle, same as Sunderland, but he's a calm influence, and he look at these games and they'll regroup and they'll go again. It's just that final bit today.
I think going back to your first point there, David, is something that needs looking at. I think obviously Pep Guardiola done it a few weeks ago. The Leeds manager was really upset. There's no doubt we've got the footage. I don't think Eddie Howe knows we've got the footage telling Ramsdale to go down. But the flip side of that, what Eddie Howe said as well in the second half, he was right. Dorgu went down 4 times. And the game gets stopped because he's holding his head.
So does everyone do it?
Everyone's doing it. So what I'm saying is, we're so critical of whether it's the FA or the Premier League so often, and they actually bring rules in to help players, and they just get taken advantage of. So now that rule is in to protect players' head injuries. It's been going on for the last couple of years now. Winds me up every time someone just goes down, holds the head in the box from a set piece, the game has to stop. Goalkeeper goes down, the game has to stop. And it's something that, whether it's above the Premier League or it's FIFA, whoever it is, something needs to happen.
All right, well,